This thing looks like the deal of the century, until the bill shows up. Before we get into it, if you're serious about not getting burned on your next car, hit subscribe right now, because this channel is where I break down exactly what dealers, listings, and great deals don't tell you. And today's video is a perfect example of why that matters. 5 grand under Blue Book, low miles, clean title, sellers practically begging you to take it off their hands. You think you just won. You didn't. Here's the truth nobody puts in the listing. The sticker price is the smallest number you will ever pay for this car. It's just the entry fee. Today, I'm walking you through 5 cars that look like a steal on the lot and quietly turn into a slow leak on your bank account for years after you drive them home. Some of these might genuinely surprise you. One of them is sitting in driveways all over this country right now, and the owner has no idea what's coming. Let's get into it. Number 5. The Nissan Altima. $13,000, maybe $14,000 for a clean one, sometimes less if you know how to work a deal. And honestly, for the first year or two, it's great. Smooth highway ride, decent gas mileage, comfortable seats. You feel like you just outsmarted the entire used car market. But here's what nobody tells you when you're signing the paperwork. That transmission is on a clock, and it's ticking whether you hear it or not. Somewhere between 80 and 120,000 miles, that CVT starts whining, then hesitating under acceleration, then slipping, and eventually it just gives up. The fix? $3,000 to $5,000, sometimes more if the shop has to source a rebuilt unit. Which means the cheap car you bought for $14,000 just quietly became an $18,000 or $19,000 car, and you haven't even replaced the tires yet. The weird part is everything else about this car is genuinely fine. The interior holds up, the ride is comfortable. It's one part, one specific, expensive, practically guaranteed to fail part, wearing the rest of a perfectly decent car like a disguise. Number 4. The Jeep Renegade. And look, I get the appeal here, I really do. It looks tough. Round headlights, boxy little off-road stance, that scrappy personality that makes it feel like a baby Wrangler. But pop the hood and here's where the story falls apart. It's not really a Jeep under there, not in the way that matters. It's built on the same platform as the Fiat 500X, same underpinnings, same engine philosophy, same reputation for spending more time in the shop than on the trail. Mechanics who work on these things will tell you straight to your face, this is one of the least reliable small SUVs on the market. Weak engine that struggles under load, poor fuel economy for something this size, and expensive recurring repairs that start showing up way earlier than they should. You're paying Jeep money for a Jeep badge wrapped around Fiat problems. And once that badge stops covering for it, the repair bills tell the real story. Number 3. Speaking of Fiat, the 500X earns its own dishonorable mention. It's small, it's quirky, honestly it's kind of adorable sitting in a parking lot. You'll get compliments on it, I promise you that. But here's where it gets genuinely rough to live with. The transmission in this thing treats downshifting like it's some kind of personal insult. Merging onto a highway isn't just uncomfortable, it becomes a full-blown prayer session. Foot to the floor, engine screaming, praying the gap closes before you need it. And here's the part that actually matters for your wallet long-term. Fiat has all but pulled out of the US market. Dealer support is thinning out, which means parts are getting harder to find and more expensive every single year you keep this car in your driveway. You end up with a car that's cute today and increasingly abandoned by its own manufacturer tomorrow. That's not a great combination for anyone trying to keep repair costs under control. Number 2. Now we're stepping it up a class. The BMW 3 Series, a 2015 or 2016 model, sitting at $15,000, maybe $18,000 for a car that's stickered well north of 40 grand brand new. On paper, that's an unbelievable deal. You're getting German engineering, a genuinely fun driving experience, and a badge that turns heads for a third of what the original owner paid for it. In real life, it's a completely different story. Because the moment that factory warranty expires, and on a car this age it already has, the entire cost structure flips on you. We're talking $1,500 to $3,000 a year just in routine maintenance, not accidents, not abuse, just keeping the thing running normally. A basic oil change isn't $40 at your corner shop anymore, it's over $100 because BMW wants specific synthetic oil and specific service intervals. Brakes aren't a couple $100s, they're routinely $500 to $800 because the pads and rotors are premium spec parts built for a performance car. And here's the part that really stings. If an electronic sensor throws a fault code, and on a 10-year-old German luxury car, one eventually will, good luck finding a shop that can even diagnose it without charging you a diagnostic fee before they've touched a single bolt. That cheap luxury car you felt so smart about buying ends up costing more per mile to own than a brand new Toyota Camry. Let that sink in for a second. And the number one car that's cheap to buy, but absolutely brutal to keep long-term. The Chrysler 300, or its mechanical twin wearing a different badge, the Dodge Charger. These things look incredible for the money. Big presence, that long hood stretching out in front of you, bold styling that makes you feel like you're driving something that costs twice as much as you actually paid. Pull up next to someone at a red light in one of these, and you look like you're doing better than you are. But here's the catch that catches up with almost every owner eventually. Depreciation on this car is savage. It loses value faster than almost anything else in its class, which means if you ever need to sell it or trade it in, you're going to take a real hit. Fuel economy sits in the high teens to low 20s depending on the engine. So while you're saving money on the purchase price, you're quietly bleeding it right back out at the pump week after week. And once you cross that 80,000-mile mark, that's when the real trouble starts. Suspension components wear out, electrical gremlins start showing up, the kind that come and go and drive both you and your mechanic crazy trying to pin down. Repairs start arriving one after another, almost like they're taking turns just to keep your wallet permanently open. You bought a car that looks like a flex, and it's quietly draining you every single month you own it, long after the initial excitement wears off. So here's the real lesson buried inside all 5 of these cars. The price on the windshield was never the actual price of the car. That number is just what it costs to start the relationship. The real price is what happens at year 3. Year 5, year 7, the moment the warranty disappears and the maintenance schedule stops being theoretical and starts being an actual bill sitting in your hand. Cheap to buy does not mean cheap to keep. Write that down, tattoo it somewhere, whatever you need to do to remember it the next time something on a lot looks too good to pass up. Because somewhere out there right now, someone just drove one of these 5 cars home feeling like they won, and they have absolutely no idea what's waiting for them at 80,000 miles. If this just saved you from becoming that person, make sure you're subscribed, because next time I'm flipping this entire list on its head. The cars that cost you a little more up front, but will genuinely save you thousands of dollars down the road. You don't want to miss that one.